Hello, folks. Richard Moore, USAGSA. Today I've got Lorraine Valente, and we did an interview a week ago. She was formerly in Manalapan, New Jersey, and we covered the corrupt cesspool, Manalapan, New Jersey Police Department. So I encourage you to go back and look at that. And Lorraine has a channel that's Alternative Homesteading. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, and Lorraine is now in Jackson County, Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky. And we're going to talk about the criminals with badges and the pathetic stalkers in rural Kentucky. And so the saga continues, ladies and gentlemen. Before I jump into it, I want to remind you that in the description of the video will be our link tree, and in the link tree that will take you to various links of USAGSA, our blogs, and different ways that you can support us. 100% supported by listeners, followers, and viewers. Without you doing your part, we can't do our part. And for those that are supporting us, we appreciate you. You know that I know who you are, and you brought us to this point today. So God bless you for that. Also, our Patreon link, become a part of USAGSA and stand with us monthly, as little as $5 a month. That's it at USAGSA Patreon. So you'll also find a link to the Brady List, the National Brady List, as we are citizen reporter for the National Brady List. And this is where we level the playing field, ladies and gentlemen, and we hold law enforcement, all levels, prosecutors, and judges accountable. And this is their report card. And this is how we sanction and remove these villains from office. So, Lorraine, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Well, I'm glad to have you back. We've had a lot of positive feedback from our last talk, and people want more. They want to know more. As we promised, we're going to give them more. So tell us what's going on in Kentucky. I know that you moved there. You're on a farm, and you've got your old McDonald thing going. You've got all the animals, and tell us what's going on.
Well, I sold my home. I sold my home in New Jersey. It took 3 years to sell that home because it was blacklisted because of this program, right? So I moved to Kentucky, obviously here, because all the houses that I was really interested in had miraculously gone off the market. No one was returning my call or sold. So I never researched this area. I bought all these acreage. The former owner passed away. But literally, as soon as I moved here, in the torrential rain here, within 3 days, 4 of my cats were stolen from a closed pod. My cats were stolen. The mobile home trailer that I wasn't going to live in was systematically vandalized. The property around vandalized. I had noise, constant noise down the county road. You know, this is a little rural area. There are under 800 people in this town, and in the county. I just pulled it up. In the county, let me just pull this up again. Yeah. So in the county, the whole county, we have a population of just over 12,000. So let me just get back into the Zoom here.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of a catch in our connection, but we'll continue. I had the same thing, Lorraine, in Union County, Mississippi, the area I lived in. I ran all the numbers, and it was just very limited, less than 1,000 in the whole area. But in front of my home, passing, as this harassment continued and increased, we counted in a 24-hour period. In a 12-hour period, in excess of 5,000 vehicles, and which was
that's crazy.
And I had
that's a lot.
And you better believe it, a 12-hour period, and could have been a lot of them could have been the same ones. Normally it is passing, and turn around going back and forth, back and forth. But that was the numbers.
Yes.
So it's and this is what happens when you expose the home office and irritate the cowards. But go ahead.
Well, see, you have to understand, I moved here knowing no one.
Right.
So the fact that already in our community, that the neighbors were already harassing me, just tells you about how this program is so systemic. It follows you wherever you go. It's worldwide. So for the listeners out there, who think, oh, well, this woman, it happened over there, or why is it happening here? It follows you wherever you go. Network. It's almost like an underground secret network.
We're going to let the secret out. This is we're going to keep it simple. The COPS program, Department of Justice, Community Oriented Policing, or as I refer to as Community Orgasmic Policing, and the National Sheriff's Association Neighborhood Watch. Those two devils have this, and they have federal tax dollars propping all this deal up. It's in every city, every county, every state.
Yes, but they also have the backing of all of my favorite Bureau of Instigation, so that
of course, it's a holistic approach to policing. That means everyone does their part. All the agencies, private corporations, and these do-nothing, busybody, moron citizens that buy into this deal.
All their websites say the same thing. It's a collaborative effort. And we're partners, and we share information.
Exactly.
And it's on everyone's websites, on Homeland Security, wherever you go. Okay, it's all it's sidestepping. It's what's the word? It's
swingers meet the third right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
The public the general public who's not aware of this is real. This is so wonderful. But for the people who are in the know, it's horrendous. It's
for those being targeted, it's horrendous. For those that are doing it, it's absolutely wonderful. They're doing the right thing for the betterment of the homeland.
Yes, for the greater good.
The greater good of the homeland.
Means that homeland. It means that we can all gang up on one person because we are fulfilling our sadistic, psychopathic personers. We're getting paid under the table. We don't have to declare taxes on it. We don't have to pay the IRS.
Because the IRS is collecting money from us and funding it.
Exactly. But they're getting paid all under the table, gift cards, all kinds of benefits. And they're harassed, bully, torment one person and maybe several other people in the community.
Oh, yeah. There's others.
There are others. I'm not the only one.
Of course.
But again, there are less than 800 people in this town.
Right.
So they really don't like to have people live proximity to each other. It's sharing information. Right. And they do that in New Jersey. People live at least a half from each other. They're not going to choose two people that live next door to each other and target them both.
Right.
It just won't happen.
Right.
But here, it happened as soon as I moved here. The noise campaigns, the brighting, people parking across the street on my property, tearing down my gate.
Explain the brighting, Lorraine. Explain that. That's being constantly flooded with bright lights.
Brighting.
Headlights and the smart street lights. Those are controlled remotely, and they just modulate them. And they just like a slow moving strobe light. All this is a psychological.
There are no
right, huh?
Yeah. Unlike New Jersey, where there's a street light on every corner,
right?
There are no street lights here,
right?
And pay on a monthly basis, and then I paid for it. Mm-hmm. There are no lights. It is black as night,
right?
And when the fog sets in, you can't see anything. So when the people drive down the county road, what they were doing is they would actually pull into my driveway, trespassing, wait there, bright up their lights, back up and go in the same direction that they were coming from. So it's not that they needed to because they were lost. It was a deliberate, intentional skit. This happens still to this day. I'm here 5.5 years. It happens. They were parking across the street because I own property on both sides of the county road. They were parking on my property and putting lights on, directed at my house at night in the block of black. They were doing that. I have photos of that. I posted that. The original sheriff that we had here was Sheriff Paul Hayes. So he was here for a while. He had a deputy at the time, Daniel Isaacs, who lives in the community. He's now the sheriff. So he got promoted from deputy to sheriff. Same nonsense. I thought, well, the old sheriff, you know, he was older. He was a state trooper. He was ready to retire. And he just didn't.
We always hope the new one will be better, but it's more of the same or worse.
Exactly. It's the same. Right. But what's worse about it, at least to the best of my knowledge, the former sheriff who's retired, he wasn't having the perpetrators down the block. So now this new sheriff, I've got neighbors, and I'm going to say their names because they've received legal cease and desist.
Put it out there. That's what we do.
Scarlett and Eddie Marks. They've actually co-opted somebody who was working for Noble Land Works. This is a couple of years ago, and I'm again going to jump around because I've got a list of what I want to say.
Hey, a little stutter. They're working for who?
I cleaned up my property.
I
mean, it was like a guy with like a, I don't know, like a sort of like a plow. He was going to knock shrubs and brush and stuff because it was so overgrown from the former owner.
Right.
I wanted it to look nice. So to do one of the properties is the sole reason I hired him. He drives here. I'm in my house. I see him on the drive. My neighbor, Eddie Marks, giving him instructions and talking to him. I asked the guy from Noble Land Works, I think to my neighbor, he's having a chat. First clue that something was wrong. How would my neighbor get a meeting with this person unless they're eavesdropping on all of my conversations, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
This is my neighbor down the block, Eddie Marks, who is also a logger at the local. I don't know if he works for the energy company or the internet company. He works for one of those, okay? Right. So, you know, multiple jobs, you know, double dipping everywhere imaginable. So he's talking to this guy who then tells me that he can't read, that his machine cannot do that. And I said, well, what can your machine do? I figured I've waited like a month. I got a quote on that. So I let him come on this side because there was another piece of land, 3.1 acres, a separate deeded. Well, look up this area here. He took it upon himself based upon the instructions from my neighbor, my Scarlett,
from your neighbor,
who has cyberstalked me, texts me, harassed for my cat when I first moved here, stalking my Facebook page, slandering me through the community, threatening me. She drives up to me a year ago. I'm sweating to death. I'm cleaning up my property with a mower. Because I am a Scarlett. She said, well, blah, 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 blah. You talking about my son? I said, oh, you mean your son who stuck his middle finger up at me? Male, your teenage son that does that?
Yeah.
I said, you think that's okay? What kind of a mother are you that allows your son to engage in? I'm a senior citizen.
Yeah.
Your family from a whole.
Yeah.
She threatened me, but she wanted me to come out to the county road and duke it out. I just laughed at her.
Yeah.
Takes out her camera.
Right.
Takes out her camera. She wants to photograph me. So what is I posed for her and I smiled.
I wish to God somebody would invite me to one of those parties. No. this is Lorraine, what they do is the idea is to first thing they have to do. Well, it's multifaceted. Of course, is slander, smear tactics, and all this stuff to ruin the target's name and reputation and isolate them. How do they isolate them? Well, they get in everybody's ear. They watch who comes and goes, and if you're not part of the deal, they get in their ear and say either you get on the program or you get out of the picture. If not, we got you. They're giving that ultimatum, and therefore they are able to isolate you. Friends don't call you anymore. People won't show up anymore. You go, what's going on here? Dial in on. No. Well, technically, yes, because they were told that if you breathe a word of this, you've crossed the line, and that's not going to be good. And so they do it, and they'll have the preacher do it, the deacon do it, the whoever. Remember, the chief law enforcement officer, that county and that city run the program. That's where the instructions are coming from.
Well, you know, and I've said this before, and I've one of the other friends, he wrote a book called True Blue, but he's been interviewed several times. I don't see him interviewed so many times now. But he said also that it's the sheriff that allows these corrupt federal programs into their community, that they could say no to them. They
could, but look, that's career suicide.
Say no.
What they're thinking, Lorraine, is that'll destroy my career, and I've got to support my family and everything else. Well, folks, that equates into you don't have a backbone, and you're not willing to stand up for what's right. Good job, good going there. Because when you take an oath to be in that position of trust and power, that is your number one priority, not your livelihood, your family, all that stuff. And that is not the way it works. God and your oath, and then everything else falls under that. If you can't, if you've abandoned that oath, of course you've abandoned God if you ever knew him, and all that other stuff you put in the mix. I don't want to hear it.
Well, that's why I have a problem now by name, because they have received cease and desist letters, and I'm speaking the truth. Absolutely. See, what they're discussing about me is lying, and karma is going to bite them in the butt, because the law of the universe is you've got to tell the truth. They're not telling the truth about me. Lying to people who work here, chase my people down to get their license plates, and then they all run to the county lawyer, Ross Murray. County Ross Murray.
And folks, for everybody else, let me interject here for the benefit of those that on this statement that Lorraine just mentioned about karma. Well, said, well, that's a pagan, Middle Eastern, whatever. No, Jesus taught karma. Jesus said, as you sow, so shall you reap. That's karma, ladies and gentlemen. And when she says universal, honey, it's universal. Go ahead.
Yes. So I'm speaking the truth. So there isn't anything that I'm saying about skull marks or their disgusting son that isn't true. The same goes for my neighbors John and Mary Perky. Here in rural Kentucky, we're basically with John Perky, who he wanted to be neighborly, and my property with his dog, and wanted to show me where my property began and ended. So he walks me all the way down the county road to the second and says, your property starts here and ends there. Well, I knew that wasn't true. I already had a map of my property, and I was going to get a landscape. There was nobody around the survey, so I ended up getting a survey, spent thousands of dollars. He
did that to immediately, he came in hat in hand, good cop, bad cop, create controversy.
Well, the thing is, they're trying to steal my property across the street.
Of course.
And after the owner, they could get over the person and say, oh, well, no, that gate over there is not hers. That property is not hers, because they're trying to take it. Their property, like mine, is on both sides of the county road. I don't know of too many other properties that own both sides of county road. So that makes And the county also has a creek.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it a little difficult to maneuver, but they're here way before me.
Mm-hmm.
I had to deal with the former to use my little entranceway there. Mm-hmm. They could have done it differently. They could have asked me outright and said, hey, we had the former owner using this driveway, to mow or whatever. And I probably would have said yes. But what they did is they lied to me from here.
Right. You have to give them. They can't force an easement. You have to authorize that easement. They can't force the easement if you don't want to. Period.
And then, of course, the woman would complain to the county attorney, blah, 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 blah. She was posting no trespass. A long story short, because the county lawyer is corrupt as hell, he corrects all of the police incident reports. And I have that. That's a fact.
Of course he does.
Yes, correct. Even if the police write something that's accurate and correct, it goes through his office just then. So, and I know because there was one incident where I actually got the FOIA request in person with the
right
secretary home, and I did it again online. That's going to be another story that has to be told here. MUCKROCK is an online FOIA request forum that exposes public corruption.
What's the name of this forum?
But they're all part of it. It's called MUCKROCK, MUCKROCK. And I have to say, on behalf, it is an excellent forum to submit FOIA requests.
Oh, wonderful!
It makes it
take note.
Public. You can download other people's requests. But what they did, and again, I'm backtracking here, is requested in MUCKROCK. Ross Murray sent me a different report than I received from the actual sheriff's department.
Right.
So that's how I know he is making correction to the reports.
They do this. They're laundering everything. They're laundering their witnesses, their statements, and of course, ill-gotten federal grant money.
Yeah, absolutely. Misreports to him rather than the other way around. And he's done this repeatedly. I'd actually like to read a letter that I wrote, filed a complaint with the Attorney General, just as I did in New Jersey, but for different reasons. I filed a complaint with the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, here in Kentucky department, and not everything. It was just these little incidences. And then after that, so much more has happened. And now we have who's an FBI guy. I haven't had any dealings with him yet, but there is going to be another complaint.
Well, the FBI are smack dab in the middle of it. The FBI and their spooks are slap dab in the middle of it. So you go read the letter.
Well,
are you going to read? You got a letter to read?
I would like to read this letter. Yes,
please do,
I would, because
do this for the sake of the inbreeds there in Jackson County that have not achieved that yet in life, the ability to read.
Yeah, what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to put it down.
Okay.
Can you still see me?
Yeah, I can see you. I believe I can.
You can still see.
I can see you. Yeah, we're
okay.
Our connection's getting just pulsed.
Okay. February 23, certified mail. Daniel Cameron, Attorney General, Office of the Attorney General, Frankfort, Kentucky. Complaint pro Ross Murray. Dear Mr. Cameron, I'm writing to provide you a synopsis of my experiences since moving to my address in 2019. The seriousness of these experiences must not be underrated and understood in the context of their ongoing, persistent nature, their financial and emotional impact upon me, my property, land, pets, and home. I've called the local sheriff police department times to file incidents of property, pets, farm animals, property vandalism, trespassing, stalking, and menace by neighbors of unknown individuals. In some incidences, there were video, photo, and audio evidence. In one incident, my neighbor, John Perky, scheming drove his John Deere tractor onto my legally surveyed property, tearing down a newly installed gate. A video, an eyewitness who was threatened with a loaded weapon, who also recorded the account. 15-year-old son viewed the entire traumatic event. Both videos were shown to the sheriff department and Ross Murray, the attorney. My witness signed a witness statement with Ross Murray. I also signed a complaint with Ross Murray to obtain an order. Murray decided to file a criminal complaint against John Perky, even with evidence, in addition to the fact that Perky had been stalking and harassed for years. There was a pattern and history of the above crimes perpetrated against me. And I did send them cease and desist letters.
Yeah.
However, Ross Murray on every occasion blocked the filing of any criminal charges against the Perkys. And as a result, I was not able to obtain an order of protection. Menace, stalking,
every
trespassing by the
target,
neighbors.
every person, and there's millions of Americans, Lorraine, they're placed on these imbecile list, one list. And rule number one is their constitutional rights and civil liberties are permanently chilled. Therefore, we are going to block. You have no rights. You have no civil liberties. And we're going to do what we want to do. And when you say we're doing what we're doing, we're going to deny it. We're going to marginalize and dismiss you as a nut job, a criminal, or any other thing that we want to put out there. And we're simply reflecting our own shortcomings. But we're going to put it on you. And when people think about all these wrongs, they look at you, not us.
Well, I want my due process.
Right. Exactly. You want that Fourth Amendment right that absolutely has been taken.
Yeah. Well, so I sent the CIS letters, both of which were copied to Sheriff Paul Hayes and Ross Murray to no avail. Ross Murray had the audacity to claim he never received them. And in fact, to the sheriff's department, it was Ross Murray responding in his customary quote unquote no documents response.
Gaslighting.
In one instance, Murray written my nonprofit's post office box rather than to my home address, and then only sent a cover letter minus the information.
Right.
Upon Murray's back to Ross Murray over many months, he continued to respond to the same FOIA request that information was never sent by him. This is abusive gaslighting response to my FOIA requests. When I requested that he hadn't paid response in the bottom email, he wanted to charge a fee.
For what?
And to respond.
Charge a fee for what?
To the FOIA request.
Well, they can. I mean, in a FOIA, I mean, they can request a nominal charge for copies, etc. That's allowable.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. On this particular platform, it's all done online. They don't have to mail anything. There are no mailing fees.
Right, right.
MUCKROCK is now complicit. They took down my account because of my complaint with the Attorney General. Either Daniel Cameron or Ross Murray, it was probably Ross Murray, contacted MUCKROCK. My account was removed. All 41 of my...
Where our connection is just absolutely freezing up.
Or any contact.
Hold on, Lorraine. Our connection is absolutely just froze completely up. It's this. Are you with me? I lost you. Okay, Lorraine, continue.
Now, do you want me to continue where we left off?
Yes, where we left off, and either way, it's okay. Let's roll with it.
Okay. So in another instance, now Ross Murray is the county lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So I can provide multiple links to the many FOIA requests over the past 3 years as they're located publicly on MUCKROCK, but they're not there anymore because Ross Murray and or Daniel Cameron had my account shut down. Okay?
Really? That's
Yes.
why the Brady report and the Brady list, folks, is important.
Yes.
That dog's not go hunt. They're
yes, and I filed complaints on Yelp, and
Yep.
all of those Yelp complaints
Yelp,
are gone.
of course. Yelp is it's simply a yelp from a bloodhound.
In another instance, Murray intentionally published my home address.
Yes, of course.
In an online public FOIA forum, MUCKROCK.
Right.
Publishing a home address without my permission goes against their guidelines.
Yeah.
And I had to file a request to remove it. But meanwhile, my account was taken down. All of my 41 FOIA requests that I paid for are not online. So anybody that searches for my town name, the county name, and Manalapan, all of my FOIA requests are gone from public view.
Right.
So MUCKROCK is a liar.
Yeah.
They're in bed with going along to get along, and removing.
Now, I thought you said this was a good place to do FOIAs.
It is technically.
Okay.
But they are censoring.
Until they figure out that you're a targeted victim, then it's not a good place. So folks, scratch that.
Exactly. So they censored me.
Yeah.
Now they claim to publish, expose government corruption through their FOIA requests.
Right.
But they are censoring targeted people, and it literally says on their website, we have found it to not be conducive to filing requests about gang stalking and energy weapons.
Exactly, because those people are nut jobs, and this is the home office narrative, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
And they've got all the deals in place for targeted victims. There's millions in America.
Yes.
And when they run here, we got something for you. It appears to be this, but it really isn't. Same thing with targeted justice, and just fill in the blanks, folks. They are perpetual nonsense rabbit holes.
Yes.
For the victims.
Yes. So MUCKROCK is involved in censorship of public documents exposing corruption.
So who started that? The Flintstones?
I don't know. Okay, so going back, I discovered that Murray trespassed my property with the offending neighbor, Mary Perky. Mary Perky. Oh yeah. She's on Neighborhood Wars on A&E, April 11, 2023. Because when I received no validation here from the sheriff, the county lawyer, we have to expose it. So I was interviewed by Neighborhood Wars on A&E, April 11, 2023, exposing my neighbors, John and Mary Perky.
Right.
Okay. So because Murray thwarted my criminal complaints, the judge decided that there was no stalking, harassment, or trespassing, even though the videos,
audio. We didn't. It was non-substantiated.
Well, but even though the videos, the audio,
it don't matter.
Photos,
we didn't see that.
And a signed witness statement was presented, and the neighbor's behaviors were clearly in violation of Kentucky's stalking, menace, and trespassing and harassment laws.
Don't apply to us.
Yes, I also learned that Murray threatened another neighbor, Chris Bowles, who once worked on my property, and he removed the older gate that, quote unquote, someone vandalized and dug into the ground. I hired Chris to remove the cattle gate, and when I asked for it to be returned, let me just get my little scroller here. When I asked for it to be returned, Chris said that the law, quote unquote, Murray, threatens that he could not return the gate. So he was threatened. My neighbor was threatened
of course,
to return my gate.
And that so goes the history lesson, folks. They're doing it everywhere.
Meanwhile, that is okay. And I'm just going to read. I still have not received my gate. This is 2024.
And you
Ross Murray, the county lawyer, tampered with evidence that could have been used in court.
Absolutely.
To demonstrate a pattern of my gates being vandalized. In addition, that older gate was stolen and not returned.
What you got? One second, Lorraine. What you got?
Okay.
Go ahead, Lorraine.
Okay, so a surveillance video was provided to Sheriff Paul Hayes in October 2019. It was after I moved into my house, of a man who trespassed my property carrying a bolt cutter and a pistol. The audio recorded the pistol firing in front of my house. I recently had the audio forensically analyzed, and the man's name was Ethan. Ethan happens to be the adult son of my offending neighbors. There has been no investigation into the crimes taking place at my house or property.
No, honey, the people that would investigate are the ones that are perpetuating it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, at least they know about it.
Look, this is sanctioned crimes.
Yes, yes. Well, this is, and you have to understand, I'm a senior citizen. They're doing this too.
Well, you don't look like one, but we'll go with that.
Well, thank you, thank you. I mean, I'm in my 60s, so mid 60s. So,
Really?
yes, neighbor Mary Perky was recently arrested for driving under the influence. In another instance, she drove into a nearby ditch and had to be pulled out. Yet Ross Murray refuses to press charges for the crimes committed against
Of
me
course not. Of course
personally
not.
and to the property by these criminal neighbors.
Right.
And more recently, beginning mid-December 2022, a man I do not know or have never met in person started to stalk and harass me on social media.
Mm-hmm.
He goes by the name of the YouTube creator Nerve Gorilla, also known as Nerve Painbow, Nerve Gorilla, Jitsi, whatever.
Yep.
Doug, whatever. I'm not going to say
care.
multiple names. He's not bothering me anymore, so I don't really care. So, and I wrote where he lives. He's a hacker and cyber stalker, but he's hacked and harmed others online. He has been reported to YouTube dozens of times. He became a subscriber to my YouTube channel and began to leave negative comments. Then he left negative comments to my subscribers. He appeared to have become obsessed with my content and videos and began emailing me privately.
What's his name again?
A Nerve Gorilla.
Real name?
We're not exactly sure.
Don't know where he lives or what his name is.
Well, he's in Minnesota somewhere.
Okay.
I believe that personally, what I know now,
we can try and get his IP address and find exactly where he is and who he is.
You know, all the targeted people know who he is. Since he's not bothering me anymore, I don't really care. I don't want to entertain him, but I'm just reading my letter and how this pertains to how the police department and the county lawyer handled this.
Right.
So he became a subscriber to my channel. He would email me privately, negatively critiquing whatever I wrote or read, even if the content was a published article. He wrote with vulgarity and insulted my master's thesis paper and my discussion of it. He threatened.
Hey, Lorraine, you've got working against you is one, you've got an education. You can read. You still got.
I can read.
You still got teeth.
I can read.
You don't have to turn sideways to get in your door.
No,
you're not driving a Kia. I mean, it goes on and on and on about reasons that they don't like you.
Well, they don't like me for a lot of reasons, but I won't go into.
That's the main ones right there.
I'll take up too much time.
Yeah, because you got an education. The what they call that being a smart ass.
That's exactly right. They don't like intelligent women who are independent, who speak out, and who look fairly good. So they want to destroy that, and that they have been doing that.
Right.
So he wrote with vulgarity, insulted my master's thesis paper. He threatened that if I didn't take an interview with him, that he would publicly shame me, which he did proceed to do. He first combed the internet for my photo and home phone number, which is not published on my YouTube channel. He left a voice message that he was the alpha male of the internet and I needed to take an interview with him. On another day, he sent threatening text messages while tagging me and my subscribers in defamatory and doxing videos that he created about me. He took my face and superimposed it on a witch. Asking his subscribers, how many brooms do I own?
Yeah. Do you know now is State Representative Nick Wilson, is he part of your area?
You know, I don't know. I have to tell you, I'm really not up on all the politics.
Well, now, the Kentucky State, just a tantalizing tidbit here.
Yeah.
State Representative Nick Wilson proposed changing Kentucky's incest law to add a ban on sexual contact to existing ban on sexual intercourse between family members, but he accidentally struck first cousins from the list of illegal relationships.
I heard that.
Wilson wanted to legalize incest between cousins.
Yes.
All right, folks. So this is KY.
Well, do you know? You want to
Not
know
the jelly,
something
but
else?
the state.
Do you know that bestiality is allowed in Kentucky?
Of course, and it is in Union County, Mississippi, honey. That's
It's
where it
disgusting.
began.
It's disgusting.
Absolutely.
Another video
Hide
from
your
the
animals,
other day.
folks.
So he defamed another woman on his channel in a way that I cannot repeat here, other than to say it was sexually vulgar. He posted my photo in a video calling me a chicken killer, and another time he called me a dumbass.
Yeah.
Publicly and privately. I saved and recorded all this information and created a video to warn others about him. Unfortunately, his cyber stalking and harassment continues.
They did that. Colonel Sanders, they called him a chicken killer too.
Well, what I'm going to say that he has stopped for
Good.
reasons unknown to me, and I don't care.
Karma, honey.
But the only reason I'm saying this is in context of my complaint to the Attorney General and what was not done afterwards, and with the police here. So I finally filed a police incident report February 2nd here in this town. Deputy Bryant returned my call, and it appears that Ross Murray blocked the deputy's ability to follow up on my behalf or to warn the stalker, claiming that out of the Jackson County, it's not their jurisdiction.
Yeah, whatever they're gonna tell you there. I've got stacks, okay, of criminal complaints with evidence that is an astronomical dream for any case, video, eyewitness statements, everything.
Yes.
That, honey, that went nowhere and will go nowhere.
Yes.
Now, as a contrast to that, I can make one of these clowns uncomfortable and they cry, and on their way out with about 10 squad cars, they make up whatever they're going to say they're arresting me for. And of course, the prosecutor will launder that and try to segue it in there. And they know at the end of the day, it ain't going to go nowhere. They hope it doesn't. Don't care. By that time, you've already been financially and physically and psychologically dragged.
Absolutely.
And doing this repeatedly, after,
yes,
on and on and on. That's part of the destruction that they bring upon people.
Yes, yes. So on the same day, I phoned, and I won't say the name of the town of where the cyber stalker lives. And I spoke to a really nice officer. I'm not going to mention her name.
Yeah.
I spoke to a really nice officer. She stated that a report should be filed in the place of the victim resides.
Yeah.
And that what Deputy Bryan stated was false, and for the reasons she just stated. However, she offered to call the stalker and left a voice message on his Google number to stop harassing me.
Yeah, you always file where the crime began, where it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Her message did not prevent the cyber stalking, doxing, or harassment.
No, of course not.
And in order for me to receive a restraining order or order of protection, Ross Murray, again, must sign off on the criminal complaint, which he refuses to do.
He's not going to do
Murray
that.
has a history.
Have you done a Brady complaint on him yet?
Not yet.
Oh, well, that's forthcoming.
Oh, no, yeah, that's good. That's going to be.
That's forthcoming. And
oh, yeah, it's on the table.
Absolutely.
It's on the table, as well as somebody in Manalapan.
Exactly. And when the next trial he's in, and he doesn't produce a complete Brady report, including his, he's got a problem.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, he is the problem.
Because that's exculpatory evidence, including it includes the prosecutor, not just the state or the witnesses for the state or the victim, whatever. Also the prosecutor. All that comes into play.
Yes,
absolutely.
So, in every incidence of crime reported to the sheriff's department, regardless of how much evidence is provided, including a signed witness statement, Murray has vetoed it. Right. So Murray has engaged in gross negligence and dereliction of duty.
Good old boy.
Murray criminally trespassed my property without permission. Murray is in violation of Title 18 conspiracy against rights.
Right.
Murray threatens a potential witness.
Right.
He's tampered with evidence. He's lied. There are various FOIA request violations, intentionally posting personal physical address online, ignoring and dismissing evidence and witness statements. He protects criminal behavior. He engaged in conflicts of interest, advertising legal and real estate services, utilizing the same address and phone number for the county lawyer.
Wow. Folks,
Yeah.
look here.
Oh, yeah.
It is, there's the rule of law, folks, the rule of law and the rule of law. And so we assume that everything is operating by the rule of law instead of the rule of law. And that little phraseology there should give you this stark contrast of what they're saying they're doing versus what they're actually doing.
Yes.
We call it in Alabama talking out of both sides of their mouth.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So he falsified responses to FOIA requests. He's unprofessional and psychologically abusive. Murray intentionally directed a stalemate and discrimination. He ignores the facts, laws, and evidence. He's in violation of Kentucky Constitution Bill of Rights, and I provided the link. Lastly, I'm filing a complaint against Assistant County Attorney Julianne Coffey. I met with Coffey to prepare a living will and last will. Both were already drawn up by a New York attorney.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord God. You should have never said that. New York City. You was down before you was ever out on that.
Well, wait. Let me finish, because I mean it was drawn up by a law firm that my mother worked for more than 30 years. Okay. So and it was a good law firm. So I have no complaints over the law firm that my mother worked for or her living will or last will. Exactly. I brought it to mirror.
Right.
I asked this assistant county attorney who draws up wills. She advertises it on her website.
Right.
Wills. They were already drawn up by a New York attorney for my mother, and all I needed was to mirror the same documents to meet Kentucky laws and to include my beneficiaries and assets. A month goes by and I called to confirm my appointment, only to be told that it was canceled.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. You called and canceled it.
No, if I didn't
call. No, they probably told you. You called and canceled it.
Well, no, I didn't. If I didn't
have them tell me, you called us, sir. We talked to you. Every bit of it was a damn lie.
If I didn't call to confirm, I wouldn't have shown up for the canceled appointment.
Right.
I rescheduled, but I hurt my arm and had to reschedule 3 weeks out. I didn't hurt my arm. My arm was hit with a directed energy weapon from a local perpetrator.
Right.
Okay. So after
the same thing, folks, happened, and you can Google this, at a Donald Trump rally, and the crowd that was sitting behind him, half of the crowd, all of them, nearly all of them, hospitalized.
Yes.
Because of damage to their eyes and so forth. They don't know what happened. The only explanation was a directed energy weapon.
Absolutely.
Now, we'll talk a lot about them. It's not as if they're this is something new.
No.
It's something that most people are afraid to talk about because they don't quite understand it. And folks, I'm telling you, I don't understand this incest problem we have, but we've got to talk about it, you know? So now this Murray prosecutor, did he marry his sister, or do you know?
From what I understand, he's a gay man.
Oh, so he's married to his brother. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if he's married.
Well, they're shacked up. It's in Kentucky.
I don't care. I don't care.
He's shacked up with his brother. I'll guarantee you, I'm closer to right than I am wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really care. It means nothing to me. So
yeah.
So when I called to confirm Coffey again, she was not available. She then after 2+ months, I finally met with her. She claimed she could not draft my wills. She claimed that I needed a trust, which was false, in fact.
You're absolutely right. That's false.
I did not need a trust. A trust would prevent me from moving from here. But anyway, I had both already drafted these wills by a New York attorney. it could not have been easier. It appears that Coffee is either completely incompetent to cut and paste words in her own stationery,
Mm,
or two, Ross Murray instructed her to not draft my wills. So
I'm
now again,
sure he
this
did.
letter that I'm reading is a certified letter to Attorney General Daniel Cameron.
Okay.
I'm almost finished.
Go ahead. Take your time.
There is much more to the criminal events that are taking place on my property. I have accurately described these events in audio, video, and in writing.
Right.
I could then extend this document to additional pages in the not too distant future.
We're not just talking about simple harassment, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about abject felonies, abject criminal activity
Absolutely.
involving and sanctioned by officials, public elected officials, and people
Yes.
operating under the color of law.
Well, and also, do you know that moving a property marker is a felony?
Yeah, that's
Well, my neighbors have definitely not only removed,
tomatoes. I
yeah,
mean, to them it's they just it's mumbo jumbo, and they just talk over it. But the, the sad thing, Lorraine, is take up stakes and move wherever, Nome, Alaska, you're gonna get the same thing, folks. This is a systemic
yeah,
core and systemic line of corruption that runs through every single community
yes,
in plain sight. Unless you hear it like you're supposed to hear it and understand what's going on, you may not be aware of it. But I know that most Americans, they're not involved in this deal, and they don't sanction this kind of behavior. They know that there's something rotten in Denmark, but they can't quite put their finger on what is that smell.
yes, yeah.
What? If we're telling you what you're smelling, go ahead.
Well, it takes years for a targeted person to realize that they're actually a target.
They know they're a target, but they don't know what's going on.
They don't know what's going on. It takes years.
Exactly.
I see YouTube creators with the horns honking in the background, the sirens and stuff. Either they know that they're targeted, they're not revealing it, or they're clueless. Okay.
Listen, I know people that are completely on a whole different subject, and I see it there. But let me tell you, I've even driven because I couldn't contact this one individual, and I said, "This person ain't got a clue." And I made the point to find where this person lived. I drove almost 1,000 miles and to enlighten this person. And Lorraine, you'd be surprised that these people have drank the Kool-Aid of deceit for so long, they're drunk off of it, and you can't tell them anything. And that is exactly what the
Yes.
program wants. They want you down that rabbit hole. And once you get so far in it, it's hard.
Yes.
Folks, I'm telling you, in many cases, I try to veer from those. I learned a long time ago. It's easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead. And so if I'm dealing with somebody that hadn't quite gotten down that rabbit hole, we can give birth to a new life. What
Yes.
does that say?
Yes.
Sheeple.
People.
Sheeple people. That's right.
Uh,
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, folks, if what we're doing, we're absolutely separating the sheep from the goats, the wheat from the chaff, the pretenders from those that are not pretending.
yes. So I said I will present information for you under another heading, which I have not done completely yet. Although I did file a complaint with the FBI when these local neighbors threw an IED on my property. It's an explosive. Yes, I filed
They
a
use
complaint.
one of
Yes,
their favorite deals is Tanamite, but go ahead. And there's another one that they could light a fuse and throw it. I forgot the name of it.
yes. So that's the end of that letter to the Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Now, I will say that our governor, I copied the governor, I copied Rand Paul. I received a response from the governor, and the governor told me to contact the Criminal
And
Investigations.
Rand Paul is also targeted.
He absolutely
Yes,
is.
yes.
Yes, but
Same
I
thing. Same thing going on with them.
absolutely. Oh, that's so provable. Yes, but fortunately, when you're a politician like that, you have the financial means to have the best surveillance cameras, security. You have different means. Regular targeted people like me and you,
Right.
we don't have those
But
financial.
they will not slow down. They will not slow down, regardless of how well heeled you are. And an example of that, of course, is Ted Gunderson, a 30-year veteran of the FBI.
Yes.
They exposed
Yes.
this, testified to Congress about it, and they targeted him. And just off the top of my head of another individual
Yes.
that has been targeted is Donald J. Trump. But go ahead.
Absolutely. And there's a CIA whistleblower, and his name is escaping me right now, but he's been posting a lot lately about what they did to his family, and his home he had to evacuate his home.
Matter of time, we won't hear from him again.
Well, it's been recent. So, and I'm forgetting his name. Maybe I'll remember it and email you. But so this has been happening, for five and a half years. So I contact the Criminal Investigations Division. Cameron's office sent me through them. I actually spoke to a couple of people. They gave me their email address, told me to send them all the information.
Right.
I sent them 5 or 6 emails with attachments,
right.
Incontrovertible evidence.
Right.
I never hear back from them.
I
sent a certified letter to Cameron, them, no response. I recently sent an email, no response. I've called and left messages, no response.
Right. It's like we've got someone that's hungry. That's what we're hearing. If I can make sandwiches, send me all the information. But you send it to them, and you talk about we've got people starving in Africa, and now, oh God, I can't do nothing about this. And they step back.
There's plenty of money. They're spending hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars targeting me.
Exactly. That, Lorraine, is not out of the ordinary for unchecked hemorrhaging of our tax dollars.
The tax dollars.
This is the same people where Congress was paying $500 for a bucket of ice to be set in each office every day, only to melt, because that was part of the deal. And Gingrich cleaned up a lot of that. $1,500 toilet seats.
Yes.
They know absolutely there's no end. They don't care. They don't care. Locally, they tell us we're gonna get you a new road and a bridge,
absolutely,
and a strip club or whatever y'all want. And then guess what? They look the other way on this other stuff. They say, if this guy is out of hand here, what would he do on a grandiose scale? Well, we're telling you what they're doing.
Well, the amount of money they must be spending on each targeted person is literally in the millions of dollars.
You're absolutely correct.
It's their black budget. It's the military's involved, private contractors, private investigators, your neighbors, the sheriff's department, the police. And I'm not going to say all of them, but in a small town like this,
they're not going to say what you're talking about. All the law enforcement, all the people.
Yeah. All the law enforcement.
Well, the law enforcement, look, there's plenty of people, good people in law enforcement.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to stop at that. How good are they? Well, they've got designated clowns in each department that oversees and directs, and they're the chief handlers of this program in their area. Not all of them are involved in it. That they're all fully aware something's going on here.
Yes, yes.
Don't ask, don't tell. Because we ask, let me tell you this. They know they're the next one out the door, and they will be in that other group of being targeted. So that's the mates goes back to the statement I made. You took an oath and you made a commitment to put the country and that Constitution first, to protect that. Not, well, I'm gonna make sure my family's good, make sure my dog's all right, and grandmama's got beans on the stove. Then I'll protect the Constitution. Doesn't work like that. It takes a backbone, folks, not a wishbone.
Thanks to this program, thanks to all the 60% of the population that goes along to get along, thanks to all the 60% of the people that are paid for hire unalivers for YouTube, we are rolling in communism. and they will not be spared either. Okay?
Right.
This is
It
what
was
happened to
Stalin.
Nazi Germany.
Stalin said, folks, I'll paraphrase what he said, that this was in the heights of the Cold War, that or before the Cold War, that the West, America, that it wouldn't be an invasion or bombs that would destroy America. They would be destroyed from within, like
Exactly.
a cancer. And
Yes.
buddy, we are in full swing of what he said.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, with I mean, I'm not even going to call him, and
Might have
I
been
don't even know,
Khrushchev. Might have been Khrushchev. I'm
I know
trying to
that
correct
YouTube
myself.
doesn't like to talk about the invaders, you know, those I can't even call them what they're being labeled, the people that are coming into the country,
They're being like, look, those
but
are
I
soldiers.
heard,
Those are listen, those people, Lorraine, are that's why they want to open the floodgates. Now
yes,
these people are beholden to Big Brother, and they know that. That's how they get these
yes,
foreigners with the gas stations and the motels and the restaurants on every corner. They participate in this targeting because uh, we don't really need a green card. If we can get all these benefits and all this stuff, all we can do is pay to play here.
yes,
And that's
yes,
how it works.
yes. Well, I heard in a YouTube video last night that 13,000 people that have come into this country, they don't know where they are, but they all have criminal records. They all,
Honey, it's more than 13,000. You can believe that.
well, no, there's no, no,
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
saying that. I'm not, there are way
They don't know
more,
where they are.
but they don't know where they are and they have criminal backgrounds of,
I got another one for you, Lorraine. Child Protective Services nationwide loses, don't know where they are,
they are
300,000 children a
children.
year. Now,
Yeah,
those are the ones that we're taking their kids because they ain't living right. Right.
yes,
300,000. Where are they going? They can't.
horrible.
We're not talking about that. We're not
It's
talking about
horrible.
that. Moving right along.
Well, you know, and I found out recently from a subscriber because I wanted to expose a little bit and tell wake up targeted people that they're using witchcraft on everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a Christian, doesn't matter if you're a Jew, doesn't matter what your religion or nationality is. Um, you need to believe that this is really exists in our society and it's
And Lorraine, let me tell you,
being used
I
against
agree
us.
with you 100%. And let me tell you, when I say they're perping by proxy, folks, you've got to understand this onion we're peeling here. These people that go to one of these fake churches that you've done all your life, might have been a good one at one time, everything's changed and y'all know it, that participate with this program, that play their role and carry that out by proxy, they are practicing the tools and the trade of the devil himself, which is
Absolutely.
witchcraft and all the other things. And
Yes.
so, even those that are doing this, Lorraine, well, I'm not. I have a pointed hat and a wand, and I'm not putting bloody pig's feet on people. You're doing worse.
Yes.
You're doing it because you are serving the
Yes.
master of destruction, the devil himself, and you are deceived when you think you're not doing it. So that's where that's coming from, Lorraine. And
Yes.
the real people that's got the point to doing this stuff, they're just loving it because
Well, there is a lot of witchcraft that takes place.
yes,
Now, when I posted that online, I was emailed privately by somebody who has been involved in the occult and everything, and she said that the big occultive practice was in New York City,
mm-hmm.
and they moved to Louisville,
Really,
Kentucky,
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville. So that is
That's
just
Muhammad Ali's home, I believe.
it's also the home of my favorite Bureau of Instigation, which, you know, the three-letter agency. I'd call them my favorite Bureau of Instigation because that's what they do. They instigate trouble. I don't see them preventing terrorist activities or
Well,
anything
it's
like
already
that.
a established fact. The FBI admitted a couple 3 years ago, and this is widely publicized,
Yes,
that it
yes.
was difficult for them to solve a crime they didn't create.
Well,
That's fact, folks.
back in 2016, the ACLU FOIA requested the FBI about their watch list.
Right.
And based upon the information that they received, then
Mhm.
they compiled a PDF that's online that is phenomenal.
Mhm.
It's called Trapped in a Black Box, Growing Terrorism Watch Listing and Everyday Policing.
Wow.
It's on my channel, it's online. And what they did is based on the FOIA request, even though it was published in 2016,
Right.
information is from 2006 and 2008.
Mhm.
And then the FBI also did not disclose, did not provide the requested documents. So they were only going on a small percentage of
Oh,
what
absolutely. A
back in
sampling.
2016. So let me just tell you, based upon what they wrote in 2016, based upon FOIA information from years prior,
Mhm.
there were 900,000 people on a watch list.
Mhm.
There were multiple watch lists. You have to be nominated to be on a list.
Yeah.
They actually showed the nomination process.
Oh, man.
So some rat snitch, some little narcissist, some psychopath with their knickers in a knot that is envious, jealous, you piss them off,
Mhm.
sent your name into the
You best
FBI.
believe it.
They did a little check mark and said, okay, we'll put that senior citizen on your watch
But,
list.
yeah, that's right. And they do it, and it is not Homeland Security. When Trey Gowdy grilled them, and I've got that video posted, admitted that they chill citizens' Fourth Amendment right until that person petitions to get off that list and have their Fourth Amendment right reinstated.
Yes.
As Gowdy said, he said, so what other constitutional rights have you chilled? How about the First Amendment? How about the Second Amendment?
Yes.
And that is what the deal is, folks.
Well,
they're doing it. This is not legal. They're doing it, but they get this leeway from this temporary measures. It's just temporary. When they knocked them buildings down in New York City, temporary measures worth thousands and thousands and thousands of days into that temporary measure that, folks, will never go away.
Well, the thing is, with regard to what Trey Gowdy said about petitioning them to get off the list, the FBI got it all sewn up, because if you FOIA request them, they send the response back that all the targeted people receive. Well, we cannot confirm or deny you're on any list.
I FOIA'd my FBI report in all many different ways, and the rank comes back that no data is available.
We can't confirm or deny because of national security.
Okay.
How are you going to petition them to get your name off the list when they won't confirm that you're on the list? Well, it's obvious I'm on list.
That's right.
It's obvious.
Right.
And besides the fact that in our last interview, it was clearly indicated in Lieutenant Thomas Mantle and the former chief of police, Michael Fountain, in the incident report.
Is that where you talk about Manalapan or in Kentucky?
Manalapan, New Jersey, in a home I lived in for 30 years as original owner. They moved in a citizen informant next door to me at 54 Sutton Drive. I lived at 52, who filed a bogus complaint against me. And on the incident report, she lied about everything, but they wrote that I was a terror threat. And I displayed disorderly conduct for walking on my driveway.
Same here, honey. I've been there, done that.
So there, you've got it. I've got it in writing. I'm a terror threat. But mind you, that's 2018. What was going on all the years prior, since 2009?
They've just got a new name for it.
They have a new name.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what a new name that and how these people, how they participate in this holistic approach to policing, everybody doing their part. So mental health, they put them into the deal, and they created something called schizophrenia, made up, pulled out of Rocky and Bullwinkle style.
Absolutely.
And all the symptoms, what it was, and big pharma,
big
rolled
pharma,
out
big
the medications.
Yes, yes.
And honey, business is booming. They can't build psychiatric wards, mental health facilities fast enough.
Yes.
Because they have all the things that are the symptoms, or all the things they're doing to target people. So when you complain, well, that's what it is.
Well,
We put you in there. It's a beautiful, beautiful paradigm. We create the problem and we've got the solution.
Yeah. Well, I just want to tell, in case somebody did not hear my previous interview with you, I have 2 degrees in psychology. My undergraduate degree is in abnormal, deviant, and violent psychology with a concentration in addictive behavior. And then I have my master's degree in psychology with a concentration in health. And my master's thesis topic was on medicating children diagnosed with ADHD and the negative consequences.
Right.
So.
And for me, I stayed at a Motel 6 one night. If that counts.
Well, let me just explain that schizophrenia is a defense mechanism. It's not a mental illness. And
Amen.
A psychiatrist back in the day when I started studying psychology was R.D. Lang, Laing. And for anybody out there that is falsely diagnosed with schizophrenia,
I get it every day from people, Lorraine, all day, every day.
So, and again, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not giving any medical or psychiatric advice.
Right. I'm the one that does that. Go ahead.
Based on my experience and my reading, and I read R.D. Lang back in the day.
Right.
Claims that it's a defense mechanism after growing up in dysfunctional households. So basically, targeted individuals are now growing up in a very dysfunctional environment that is been magically created for us.
Yes.
Isolated the victim. Yes. They throw nanotechnology in our homes. They're radiating us, torturing us with MK Ultra, COINTELPRO, 10.0, psychological abuse. They inflict satanic ritual abuse on us.
You better believe it.
Absolutely. And then they want to rename whatever post-traumatic stress that we're experiencing as schizophrenia. Well, and just for the record, I do not consent to being videotaped.
None of us consent to our rights to privacy. And as I said before we went live here, that any American that thinks they've got privacy of any kind, let me tell you where that resides, between their 2 ears. Outside of that, honey, that's a pipe dream. It does not exist.
Well, you know what people need to understand is sometimes they have inadvertently given permission to researchers and scientists and whatever to experiment on them through their medical records. So I would advise people to contact your physicians and write a very simple letter that you may not share any of my information. You know, and I've done that. I've done that too.
But Lorraine, here's the deal.
Yes.
We've got HIPAA and all these things that are supposed to be there to protect this relationship and that information. But the facts is that Homeland Security fusion centers have the back door to all this. They fuse it together. That goes in the report. That is, you can protest that and let them know you don't want them doing that. How far it goes, I don't know.
Yes, well, I've noticed on a lot of medical intake forms at the very bottom, at the 5th or 6th page, it will say, have a little small print about, well, if may we share this?
Well, who? No, you can't.
You know, upon asking, we are required to share this with law enforcement, and they make you check off. I will never check off that box.
No.
What does law enforcement have to do with my medical records?
They want it. They want it. And let me tell you, I've sued these clowns 5 times in federal court.
Well, you know what? Then I want their medical records too, because I guarantee that I'm healthier than any one of these people living in this town.
That's right. I said the same thing.
I
They said, well,
guarantee it.
he's psychologically, he's just this, that, and I said, let me tell you what, I will willingly get evaluated by any psychiatrist in this country, and I will guarantee you, ain't one of them going to say this guy here is throwed off, which means he is mentally unstable. He's got blah blah blah. That's not going to happen. They want that to be the talking point. Well,
Yes.
you know, he's not compliant on his medications, and I've been asked that before. Are you compliant with your medications? I said, I damn sure am. I take my lisinopril every day. Well, what else? Vitamins? What else? That's it, clown.
Yes.
That's what you've been told. What have you been told to take? My lisinopril.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same answer. It's never been suggested I need to be on anything.
You want to hear something really nuts? This happened back in Manalapan, New Jersey. And for the women out there, I'm sorry if you had went through menopause and you suffered. I had no suffering through menopause. It's almost like it didn't even exist. It's almost like it didn't even exist for me. So,
well, that's because you're clean living and your diet, your lifestyle.
Exactly. It did not affect me at all.
Right.
So I went to the doctor, and he asked me if I'm going through menopause, and I said, "Yeah, I am." He says, "Well, you know, my wife did too,
oh, Lord.
And this really helped her."
Where's this going, Doc?
Wait. He gave me 3 prescriptions. I kid you not. 3 prescriptions. One, I think, was Seroquel. One was another antidepressant. One was an antipsychotic. Yeah. And it's like, I don't have any symptoms. He said, well, it helped my wife. It's like, I don't really.
Oh, give me some Xanax. Well, we can't do that now.
Yeah,
that might tilt the scale here.
Wrote those prescriptions for me. It's like, you know, I couldn't believe it.
Yep, they do it. They've written Seroquel and I mean, they want you on something. They would love to have me on something. Have me drooling and doing the Thorazine shuffle. And it could slow my roll a little bit, but you know, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it was a medical doctor, you know, that I would go to, like, if I hurt my knee or something.
Yeah.
For him to be prescribing these psychiatric drugs,
right. They part of the deal. They part of the deal. They go and they will diagnose you.
So corrupt.
I've had COPD, brain cancer, God, the stuff I've had. But
the negative side effects on all of those medications are significantly worse than doing a lot of holistic things, taking certain vitamins. Not all of them. Some of the vitamins are not good for you.
They're right. You're right.
They're infected. You know, it depends on who owns the company.
Right.
But you know, eat as natural as possible, and you know, our food supply is
it's tainted. The soil, our table it's tainted.
Yes.
I mean, if you could plant organic corn where non-organic corn, and you still got a tainted product. Our soil is absolutely. You've had toxins and impurities pumped into this soil for decades.
Yes. Well, I wanted to mention also about the stalking around here. Another tactic that they use on me is they throw trash on my property.
I've had it happen. Yeah.
I'm not saying like just a cup.
Yeah.
Like they'll throw boxes.
A garbage can full, yes.
Like a whole garbage full.
Exactly.
In one instance, there was even a receipt there. This was like not food that had been eaten already. This was new food.
Yeah.
And they stuck it in the middle of my property that's listed for sale.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down there with my landscaper because he needs to clean up down there. It's the first time I'm seeing all this trash. I was pissed off. I start taking up the trash so that he could work there, moving it to the county road and stuff. Evidently, and I walk back. I'm furious. You know, I wasn't sure if I was going to file a report, a complaint, or whatever. But Scarlet Marks beat me to it. She claims that she was driving down the county road and she couldn't drive anymore because there was so much trash on the county road. So she harassed my worker, threatened him, and then said, well, do you know my son-in-law is the sheriff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to call him right now.
How big a girl is Scarlet?
Scarlet, I'm going to say she's maybe in her 40s.
I'm talking about how big is she?
Big?
Yeah.
Well, all the women around here have way too many pounds on them.
They're
I
built
mean,
like linebackers and janitors. But go ahead.
I mean,
Yeah.
probably everybody is at least 15 pounds overweight, over
That's
what they should be.
you've been way too
I'm
nice,
saying
honey.
that's at the minimum,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
So, she's not, I mean, she might be an inch taller than me or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Right.
I want nothing to do with her. She's already, she's going to be getting another one too.
Oh,
But, so she's threatening my worker,
mhm.
right? She calls the sheriff's office and a deputy comes over.
Hey,
The
sheriff. Who's the sheriff again?
Oh, this is Sheriff Daniel Isaacs.
Daniel Isaacs.
Daniel Isaacs. He was a deputy with the old
Yeah.
sheriff.
Okay, so now let me tell you, this falls on his shoulders.
Well, wait a
Win, lose,
minute.
or draw.
Uh,
He's
uh,
chief law enforcement. Now, if he can't handle it, Daniel, then what you need to do is the right thing. Put all that
Right.
crap on your desk that we paid for, including the car, and get the hell out of there. If you're driving something we paid for, walk, go. You have abandoned your oath. You have betrayed society, this country, and everything it stands for. That's where you belong. Go
Yes,
ahead.
but there's a
Lorraine.
conflict of interest. There's a huge conflict of interest.
Yeah, you
Because,
think?
well, wait, with the conflict of interest is for the last 5.5 years, Scarlett has been using, even in a text message, calling the sheriff's office because her son-in-law, quote
Oh,
unquote,
God, boy, these
he was
people
the
here.
deputy, now he's the sheriff. In my research, and I could be wrong, so this is a disclaimer. Her daughter dates the now sheriff and has 2 babies with him.
And he's probably married, isn't he?
Well, he's not married to her, to the best of my knowledge.
Look,
So the fact that
wife
Scarlett
swapping is in vogue.
saying that I'm going to contact my son-in-law, who's the sheriff. Well, to the best of my knowledge, he's not your son-in-law if your daughter's not married to him.
Oh, my God.
So, and the thing is, what kind of mother are you? Will you allow your daughter to keep opening her legs to a guy that's not going to put a ring on it? I don't care.
Hold it, man.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I'm old-fashioned.
Well,
you know?
Fornication is a old law, I think.
So
they love jump up and down the ones that the stuff they don't agree with. That's wrong. You're going to hell for it. Well, you should know you're going to be there waiting on them, but they don't want to touch on fornication and adultery.
So the deputy comes. He says, "Don't worry." He says, "You're not in trouble." He says, "I'm going to have the trash picked up."
Now, good.
And he was nice about it, cordial, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I told him what's been going on. I said, "This is not the first time trash has been dumped on my property. Yeah. I've actually brought trash that's been dumped on my property to the sheriff's office."
I dumped it in the parking lot. Tell me you did.
Well, no, I showed him. I even brought this, it was like a shop vac.
Yeah.
They dumped like a part of a shop vac in my outer fields, along with barbecue spears and all kinds of things. Raw meat.
Hey, you got
so in Kentucky, there is a law against loitering, but it appears to be that only
there is no law against marrying and having intercourse with your first cousin.
Well, I have no idea about that.
It's on the books.
I don't know. I mean, it's a small community.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to meet somebody here. It's going to be inbred somehow.
Of course.
I mean, look at that law, that sheriff that shot the judge in the county over from me.
Is that where it was?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're probably not going to do anything to him. He probably was running his mouth and he got what he deserved.
Well, from what I understand, the judge and the sheriff married sisters.
Oh, God, here we go.
Incest is
best, folks. It always gets close to home. It's all in the family. And I mean, keeping it in the family is
all the family. Yeah, it's all in the family. So, so anyway, but I want to tell your public too that wherever a targeted person lives, the crime increases exponentially, but it's never reported.
It's manufactured, and of course, it increases exponentially.
Yes. The home break-ins, the vandalism, the theft, what they've done to my clothes, what they've done to my pets. And for the record, I have a 501c3 nonprofit cat rescue called Freya's Cat Rescue. I've had it since 2013, officially to 2013, but years before that. Since I moved here, I relocated all of my once feral rescue cats that I socialized.
Right.
So that I could move them here. 28 of those cats have been poisoned, stolen, harmed, burned.
Been there, done that. Same with me. Same with me.
Burned. Horrible.
This is demonic. This is demonic. Anything that God created for one reason, they absolute prostitute it and want to destroy it.
Absolutely.
That is institution of marriage.
Yes.
All that to everything.
Yes. So,
and that is the deal.
So when you look up the crime statistics for some place that you want to move, just know that they're all fake. Every crime statistic is false. Because there is a targeted person in almost every city in every state.
There is a target. More than there's several. There's several. It is a great folks. I'm telling you, this is the sales pitch. We're here. What we're doing is we want cleaner, better, safer neighborhoods. Don't you want that? Yes. We want to protect the children. Don't you want that? Well, yes. Well, then butt out. Let us do our work. And they move right along and said, well, it all sounds they're doing good things.
Yes.
Oh my God. And so did Adolf Hitler.
So the crime statistics are false. So every targeted person has now learned to not call the police for anything.
God, I might know you.
It takes a while, but you don't.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, because
that's the last person you want to call. Call Domino's.
But leave it up to people like Scarlett Marks who will call the police on your behalf.
And they will absolutely Johnny on the spot because old Scarlett called them. And don't matter if it was true or not, they don't care.
That officer, instead of wasting his time driving
my
property, wasting his time with me, wasting his time going back to the office, could have been fighting real crime.
What's that?
So they're wasting county resources, financial resources, by falsely reporting people, by all of this nonsense that they're doing. But they don't care. The budget is unlimited.
Right. Jackson County, Kentucky, folks. Now, what she just said, whatever county you live in, take Jackson out, put your county in there, and there you have it.
Yes. And it's the Jackson County prosecutor, who's the county lawyer, Ross Murray.
The one shacked up with his brother.
The Jackson County Sheriff, who is Daniel Isaacs. And then we have a new Attorney General. I'm forgetting his name now.
Is it for the state?
For the state.
And what's it? You don't know what his name is?
An FBI guy.
Oh my God! Of course. They look.
An FBI guy.
Same here. Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yes.
Got rid of their chief of police and got a guy from the FBI, and they love these FBI people are getting these local footholds where they can manage all these federal resources and all these federal programs, and because they already can comprehend it, because hell, they created it. And so what better person to have in there to give everything a smooth, seamless operation? That's the draw for that. Same way with sheriffs. You wonder why these sheriffs are, well, good sheriff, what happened? Well, they voted for the other guy because they got behind the other guy. They want somebody in there that they've groomed that can usher in these deals without any hitches.
I was curious about that. Like, why would you leave the FBI to go to be an attorney general?
That's why.
Unless maybe he just didn't want to be with them anymore. There are people that don't want to work for them anymore.
Well, they leave. It's the FBI are doing this, and these state police are doing this. Like Sheriff of Lowndes County, Mississippi, was with the Bureau of Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, and so on a state level, they work hand in hand as far as those that are working for the Attorney General, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of every state. They work hand in hand with the feds, and so they get them from that pool and from the federal pool. FBI InfraGard is instrumental in helping turn out these people and help them transition from
Yes.
that into a local position. That way, they've got boots on the ground and
Yes.
things run better. It's for the deep state.
Yes. And for the viewers, what boots on the ground means is that there is at least one person surveilling a target 24/7. They take
We used to
shifts.
call that peeping toms, but that's not a bad word anymore.
Exactly. There used to be peeping toms. They'd look in your window, but
They
not
still
through.
doing it with drones and
Yes.
peeping. I mean, I'd be glad when peeping tom goes back to being what it originally was and a bad thing. And hopefully, I'd love to see George Orwell go back to being fiction. But as
Well,
it stands, it was not. It was a prophecy. Orwell wasn't his name anyway. He was a whistleblower. But go ahead.
unfortunately, the technology is so advanced, it's very hard to wrap your mind around.
You can't.
They can actually, and you can read, you can see this Dr. James Giordano. He works for DARPA.
Mhm.
Okay. And DARPA has tons of government funding, billions of dollars, billions. And these government scientists, like Dr. James Giordano, is so proud of their technology about how they can hack your brain and see what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, smell what you're smelling with their nanobots,
Yeah.
with their synthetic biology, but he doesn't use those terms. And again, I got this from a recent targeted person, Onion Head, Andrew, who's on Rumble, who's done 5 years of research into how they're actually targeting us. And how
it is Lorraine, it's absolutely staggers imagination. That's why many people choose to turn the channel. This is more than and I get that, and that's why I cover a lot of things, but I know, as you're speaking, and we've spent, and we're not dummies, I don't believe, and we've spent a great deal of time researching with credible research, not junk science, not Wired magazine or Popular Mechanics or whatever that stuff that in facts about this stuff. It is a lot to process. I did have a talk this morning though, Lorraine, with an individual that does know what's going on, all of it from A to Z, and that's God. And believe me, folks, he understands it, he sees it, he's not humored, and I'll promise you, there is your answer. At the end of the day, he is our answer. We must continue to fight, of course, and expose this stuff.
Yes. Well, absolutely, because the truth is literally incontrovertible.
Yes.
And what these criminals or these local criminals are doing are they're spreading a lie.
Of course.
Okay, they're spreading a lie, they're perpetrating the lie, they're living a lie. And whatever
they call that an alternative story. Yeah.
Well, and whatever their reasons are, I don't really care. If you're bribed, you're coerced, you're blackmailed, get a core. What are your core values?
Exactly.
You're not integrous.
What it requires, Ryan, is a moral compass.
A moral compass.
And
exactly.
let me tell you, this is, well, I've got a moral compass. Let me tell you.
Yes, yes.
If less God and you belong to Him is at the center of your life, you can't have a moral compass. A moral compass can only be calibrated with God. Any other calibration of deeds and works or speech or any of these other things, you have a phony compass, and you call it a moral compass. It's not real. Only true moral compass that you can have, is that it lines up with God, the Creator, not some other God. That's the deal.
Yes. Another tactic I wanted to tell people to be on alert for, especially if you're not sure if you're targeted, You'll start to have unusual cars following you. They'll
Oh,
do
God, that's great.
U-turns in front of you.
Yeah.
You'll see cars with only one headlight to let you know that they're part of the program.
It's part of the sensitization. Yeah.
Yes, yes. They'll interrupt you while you're grocery shopping and ask you a question. Just out of the blue, a stranger will approach you at the post office,
Oh,
ask
yeah.
you a question. It's all about interrupting your process, your thought process.
And get you thrown off, get you thrown off.
Obstacles. They'll set up roadblocks in front of you while you're driving, like fake accident over here. It's all street theater. That's
Yeah.
what that's called. It's called street theater.
That I get that all the time. I just really love those shoes. And until
Yeah.
I started things like that, well, now we're on the subject. Don't you need to drop about 50 pounds?
Yes, yes,
Why? And
yes.
they said, well, that's he's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So, like for example, yesterday I was raking leaves by my driveway because we had a lot of rain, and actually more leaves than I should have because
Yeah.
the criminals are on my property, taking down branches and destroying my property for plausible deniability. Oh,
Yeah.
it rained anyway. Oh, we can just take down all these branches. So I'm cleaning it up. In this small rural area, I count 10 vehicles from the time that I went there
Damn
to
what?
10
Damn what?
vehicles,
Vehicle.
cars,
Oh yeah.
trucks,
That's your
drive by.
perverts on wheels, of course. That is
Yeah,
that is
cops,
all the rage.
predators on patrol, pops, pedos
Perverts
on.
on wheels, and of course, gas is so cheap they can afford to do it. Really?
And
Of
then
course,
there's the
it's cheap
WAP.
and they don't have to pay for it.
Did you hear about the WAPs?
Wops.
WAP. The witches on patrol.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that.
And by the way, I didn't finish my thought. So the whole witch satanic capital
Right.
that was located in New York City moved to
So
Louisville,
Louisville,
Kentucky.
how about that?
So it's prevalent there, and the FBI is there. It's a big bustling. There are hundreds of thousands of people that live there.
Right.
There's another targeted person that lives there, right there.
Right.
She's always complaining about the same things. They're throwing spiders and spider webs inside of her house, and this
Yeah.
is what they do. It's a curse. It's a hex. It's
Let me tell you what else they do. They will introduce bed bugs, and
Nat.
I'm telling you, folks, when you talk about blights and plagues, they've got something for it. Believe it.
Yes.
They have something for it. This is
Yes.
folks, I wish what we were talking about was just some a far left wacko conspiracy or far right, everyone look at it. But what is a conspiracy? If Lorraine and I talk about going on to Florida on a vacation, that is called a conspiracy. We're conspiring. That's a conspiracy. For those that don't know what that means. If they say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, they haven't a clue what that means in the first place, but this is real.
That's the fact.
If we do what we're doing because not so much are we going to change the world. Let me tell you, what we are going to do is empower those that feel powerless, that have no control, and let them understand that in spite of all these things, we can do something. We can exist and have more than existence.
Well, and also, alerting the public about this. It is a program.
You better believe it.
They want it to be a secret, but so many people are coming out and exposing it. It's not really a secret anymore.
No.
And according to the Trapped in a Box Growing Terrorism Watch listed a PDF by the ACLU in 2016, 900,000 people were watch listed. If you fast forward that to 2024, it is suspected now in the US alone that is close to 4 to 6 million people on the list.
Yeah, I'm saying it's going to be north of that.
Yeah.
It's
and now with the predictive policing, the cops now, they're all psychic.
They know what they know. They can predict all these things here, a crime before it takes place.
Yeah, yes. They know.
The Minority Report. the
Yeah,
minority part was real, folks.
yeah, exactly. So now they're using this predictive policing.
Yes.
So if let's say you're a regular teenager, I don't know about you, but I was a teenager at one time and I didn't always do everything wonderful, you know.
Hmm.
I did some crazy
I
stuff as a
did.
teenager.
Mhm.
You know, we all did.
Yeah.
So based upon that behavior as a teenager or an unruly toddler, we're
Mhm.
going to fast forward it to you're 30 years old and
Exactly.
we're going to turn you into a criminal.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do.
That's
Chris
what they do.
Naco in Pasco County, Florida, he discontinued that.
It's job
That's a damn
security.
lie. He
Yeah.
quadrupled down on it. He didn't stopped anything because they believe, folks, that the conversation when you're not in the room and the mindset is this: we're sick and tired of these slick talking lawyers and these laws letting these criminals go free. We don't like it either. Well, we've got another way of doing it, and we're not going to let them go. We're going to get them. We're going to do it our way. And when they're doing this, folks, what you don't understand is that we want you, Rain, to fix that problem no matter what it takes. Are you serious? I'm serious. Well, what you're doing and what has happened here is you've greenlighted the circumventing of all the laws of the land, our justice system, everything that hundreds and thousands of men and women died and bled out to
Yes.
preserve and to have. You have absolutely betrayed your country. You are an enemy of the state, calling yourself an American citizen.
Yes. Well, you know, the people that created this program and that are involved in it, and many of the police
Are
officers.
godless pathetics.
Well, no, I mean, it's already been proven. It's already been documented. It's already been statistically proven about low IQ, psychopathy, being bullied as children, and wanting revenge and in adulthood, entitlement, wanting control and power over another person. These are all behaviors that are not conducive to smoothing situations over. It tends to escalate.
There was a lawsuit 20 years ago. A man was employed, had a high IQ, a good education, a heavy advertisement for police officers. He applied, took the test, and they denied him.
Yes.
And why? You scored too high on the test. This is honest to God's truth.
Is that right?
Sued him. He scored too high on the test. Sued him. It concluded that their argument was this: that people with IQs that high tend to lose interest and police work, and therefore we don't believe we can retain them when they have high IQs.
Well, I would think that an officer with a high IQ. Well, listen. That if somebody did have high IQ,
saying double
that
digits,
it would be an investigator of sorts because it takes some kind of brain power to literally investigate and pick apart minutia.
Yeah.
It's not for the average person.
But how much IQ do you need for somebody to learn and be coached by a prosecutor how to, in minute detail, to construct a crime?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that is what they're more interested in.
Well, that's true.
What is their ability to pick up what we're laying down and get with the program?
Yes.
And bring us a case that is a slam dunk, and they do it every day.
Well, that's because the attorneys are well educated.
Right.
In order to be an attorney, you have
to have. They want to keep law enforcement stupid. Don't want to know the law. No, don't worry about that. Just you cuff them and stuff them, get them naked down there, and do what y'all want to do with them.
Yes.
We'll handle the rest. Okay.
Yeah. So attorneys are educated. They not only have the 4 years of undergraduate school, but they've got law school. They had to pass that bar exam.
I'm telling you, it is not easy.
Usually be, work for a judge as a law clerk or something like that. They had to put in their time.
That's right.
And then study the law.
That's right.
It's not like
folks, it is not easy. You got some stupid attorneys out there, and they may be, but I'm going to tell you one thing: they are not illiterate to the deal. They know how to swim through these deals that are manufactured by them and to swim through. And
well, they can be master manipulators.
Better believe it.
Yes, they twist the law They know the law, they twist it, they manipulate it, and they lie.
And they are beholden to what? The court, not the
Well,
client.
oh, and well, look at what just happened. The sheriff shot the judge.
Yeah.
So,
What are they going to do with the sheriff? Have they done anything? I got on to him.
well, the last I saw was that he was asked if he had a legal representation, and he
Yeah.
said he didn't. He didn't try to get it. He didn't
Yeah.
have the financial means.
Of course not.
So they were, I think that they were going to give him an attorney.
Yeah, they'll give him
That's
one.
the taxpayer dollars.
Of
Right?
course. And
So,
if he was running the deal for him, he'll get a slap on the wrist. You know,
but
they've got this sheriff Grassery in Knoxville County, Mississippi, raping female inmates like it wasn't over tomorrow, and the feds got him, and they convicted him, Lorraine, and he got 24 hours in prison.
yes,
Boy, that's a big step for justice, isn't it?
yeah. Well, I wanted to say also, not to leave him out. We can't leave Zoom Boy out.
Zoom Boy.
My cat. No, there's a guy that lives up the block there who's been harassing me for years. He tore up my property here. He's dumped trash on my property, U-turns. He purposely pulls into my driveway, does a U-turn, and then screeches his car all the way down the county road so that there are tire marks, oil, scratches.
That's saying a woman, you know, it's a real winner to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
They do that stuff for me, Rain, and I start hunting them. Oh Lord God, they get the police out there. It looks like the National Guard's been called out. You've been threatening people.
Yes.
That's
It
what
gives you an insight into the mindset of somebody like that. The emotion
of a coward. It's hard to do that.
It's not only a coward, but it's the emotional immaturity of these people. That's something like a 16-year-old would do who's just learning to do wheelies for the first time or whatever, right? Yeah. But only in front of my property.
Yeah.
And then when I FOIA request incident reports, they'll either be blank, or they'll be incomplete.
I've done it, and to get back, and it won't be anything, nothing.
Yes.
Like it never happened.
Yes. So I also want to give a shout out. So when I first moved here, I hired a locksmith. Let me find him. Now, this locksmith, and I'm going to tell you how I know that it's a network.
Of course, it's a network.
Former military guy.
Let me tell you what. I've seen it firsthand with Mercedes-Benz, and you can't get a key made for Mercedes-Benz. I don't care if it's a 1919 model, unless you can prove, one, that you own it, and two, of course, you have to present the documents you own it, along with the VIN number and all that. It's the only way you can get another key made. But Mercedes hands those key fobs out to these people, and people, and especially with most of the new models, they're heavily loaded with sophisticated computer equipment.
Yes.
They remotely, and I've been in them. You know, they've got it'll correct your drive, and you get over online, it'll bring you back in there. It scared me. I thought it was a poltergeist deal or something, but but they manipulate these cars, and people are having wrecks and dying. Okay, I'm just talking about Mercedes, and all the cars now have a pretty good degree of sophistication.
Yes.
And with that, those things are toyed with, and people are having accidents, and people are dying, really, and written off to a driver error or whatever it is. But no, the truth of the matter is, there's a cold-blooded killer behind that deal. Yes. That gets completely ignored.
Yes. So when I first moved to Kentucky into my house, I wanted to change the locks. I wanted to get a deadbolt. So I bought them all. I bought all the deadbolts, and all I needed to have them installed. So I called on this locksmith in London, Kentucky, Central Kentucky locksmith. This guy shows up. He's waiting in his car for a long time. He's got his dog in the car. It was really hot outside too. Shows up with all the tattoos, and he looks like a military guy. I ask him, he tells me yes. So I show him all the equipment that I bought for my door.
Yeah.
And he says, well, why are you putting a deadbolt on this door? You've got got a window here. They
Yeah.
can just break the window and come
Yeah.
in. I said, well, I want a deadbolt.
Yeah.
I said, because if somebody breaks the window, that's evidence, right?
Uh-huh.
He refused to put the deadbolt in.
Well,
He did the other things on my other door with these defender clips.
right.
They're defender clips
Right.
and whatever. So we're looking through the defender clips. He didn't know how to install them.
Yeah.
He turns to me, he said, get ready for this. He says, well, you have a PhD. How come you don't know how to install them?
Well,
I said, excuse me?
how did you know you had a PhD?
Well, first of all, I don't have a PhD.
Oh,
I was enrolling in the doctoral program for forensic psychology.
I've got one that it stands for piled high and deep.
Well, and it was published online that I was enrolling in this program,
Right.
you know. So
He didn't read the memo all the way, did he?
exactly, but I could not because it's a long story I won't get into here,
Yeah.
but they literally took me out. They sabotaged my ability to
I
continue.
understand. Right.
So I was really floored.
Mhm.
So what kind of a locksmith performs research on a
They don't.
homeowner
They
before
don't.
they show
They,
up?
they don't.
This was
You
a
know,
network.
it's the only locks that folks is really the best lock that you can have, and this is my personal advice or professional advice, is a paper clip and a Smith and Wesson.
Well,
That's a pretty sure
I'm just
deal.
gonna give a shout out for and I wrote a negative commentary on him on Yelp, and that disappeared.
Of course it did.
The county attorney disappeared. Other
Yep.
things just disappeared.
It's not going to disappear here, folks.
So this is a locksmith who drove here, charged me, I think it was $175.
Yeah.
For not installing a deadbolt that I already pre-purchased.
Yeah.
And then had the audacity to tell me that you should know how to install this because you have a PhD.
Yeah.
How would you know that?
Oh, I could have told him some stuff.
Right?
God, send me one of them this
It took
week,
me
please.
so by surprise. I'm already traumatized by
Of
4
course.
of my cats being stolen.
So now you got a lurking, stalking locksmith talking about crap he shouldn't even be talking about.
Let me tell you what Lowe's did. Lowe's was in on my
Oh, yes.
They contacted Lowe's, also in London, Kentucky. So I installed a deck. I get this crazy ass quote of $8,000
Hey.
to install this small little deck.
Yeah. Huh.
So anyway,
Huh.
I'm going to tell you who my salesperson.
Lowe's, Home Depot, and
Okay, my
AutoZone.
salesperson his name is Andrew Root.
Andrew Root.
Andrew Root was complicit
Hell, these names come from.
in providing damaged wood, damaged materials to my property.
Yep.
All of the wood was rotted.
Yep.
And had
You see, Lorraine,
wait,
if everybody is participating
yeah.
in this holistic approach, you see where this is going. This woman's crazy. Nothing's ever right. You can't please her. Yeah.
Once you see
People buy that. People buy that. But when you stop thinking, well, you know what? What if she's not crazy and she can document and prove this? Then what's that make it?
Exactly.
And she can.
Well,
I can. And millions of others can.
I'm going to tell you what happened. Okay. So they deliver all rotten wood.
Yeah.
With Illuminati eyes. I
mean, that's out with it. It's they might pick it out, but the knots will do it.
No, but it was on both sides, so like you couldn't even flip the wood.
Yeah.
You know, like I was amenable to flipping the wood.
Yeah.
But not for $8,000. But anyway, so
did you get the deck or not?
I said, you've got to take this away. And they also brought me the wrong sealer.
Yeah, of course.
Gave me the wrong sealer.
It's hard to get good help these days. That's
they take it all away, bring me new wood. The new wood, it's really no better, but I'm at a loss for words at this point. Yeah. I keep it.
Mm-hmm.
And they never gave me the sealer. Still to this day, not the sealer. So they installed, I'm not going to go into all the details. They installed the deck improperly. So I filed a complaint.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I filed a complaint. And Andrew Root never got back to me.
Is that his real name? Or these people using phony names?
I don't really. He was
Every
my
time I talk about get to talking, I hear these names.
But you can tell
I've
it
never
was
heard of the
street
Rootses.
You can tell it was street theater because he had this smirky grin on his face.
Yeah.
He was here
A
looking at
shit-eating grin.
They knew. And also Lowe's delivered a door to me with a red triangle on the door.
Boy, they've got all the sense. Well, Lorraine, we're just absolutely in a time crunch here.
Okay.
It's been needless to say, folks, we'll get Lorraine back on here. We'll probably get on here next week because she has got a lot to say. And you have said a lot today, Lorraine, but as you know and I know, there's more where that came from. Just when you think you've heard it all, y'all stay tuned.
Oh,
you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, no.
We just got started on this deal, folks.
Oh, no.
So make sure you tell your friends and neighbors.
Oh, there's so much more.
You better believe it.
So
I'm
much.
telling you, I've been to 3 county fairs and a goat roping. Ain't never seen stuff we see in here on a daily basis. It will blow your mind. So tell your friends about it. Get your popcorn ready. It's going to be a good one. Lorraine, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
I'll be seeing you on here next week. Folks,
you
God
so
bless
much.
you. Subscribe, share. Until next time. Bye.